Welcome, everyone, on this Saturday Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro with Executive Vice President of Football Operations and President of Eagles Namaste, Howie Roseman. I got the Namaste in.
You did.
So you guys don't know about the Namaste, but it's been really a very important part of the success here.
Yes, we do yoga on Thursday mornings during the season, and Dave Spadaro sits right across from me, and we constantly motivate each other, and we laugh, and we have a good time, and it's a beautiful thing.
Hey, roster that comes down today, the 53, with injuries, with suspension, short week. How tough was it?
Yeah, it was more complicated than normal because, you know, our role is to make sure the coaches have the 46 they need to win. And so when we have other obstacles with that, because the roster is a little bit in flux early in the season, you know, we were a little non-traditional with our position allocations. And it will be, for the first couple of weeks of the season, like normal, it will be a situation where it's fluid. And that's our job, to continue to improve our roster. And so we'll look for opportunities to do that. But you know, once we get past this day, which is a hard day for us, letting a lot of guys go that we have connections to, we'll be totally focused on Thursday and can't wait to get in front of our fans again and start this season.
It's going to be great, right?
Yeah. So unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. A couple players fans I know want to know about. Sure. They don't. Bruce Hector, what do you do to make this team? Defensive tackle.
Yeah, Bruce Hector. He's got a nice combination of power and athleticism, and he's a young player who has got some upside, and so. He won the job coming out of camp, and at the same time, he's got to continue to grow because it just gets harder from here on out.
He and Destiny, the backup tackles, not a lot of experience there.
Yeah, I think the part about it for us is our defensive ends are versatile. So those guys can reduce inside and come in and rush and work edges on our scheme where they're getting able to get off the ball. Obviously, we got BG who's done it, and Michael Bennett who's done it. So we got some versatility on our defensive line.
Signed late, it shows that every roster spot means something and that preseason games mean something. DeAndre Carter makes this football team.
We stand up in front of our players the first day, and you were in that meeting, Dave, and we tell them, we picked all of you. You know, every single one of you was chosen. And DeAndre was with Joe Douglas and Andy Weidel as an undrafted free agent in 2015 in Baltimore, and we worked him out, and every day he made a play. And we get a chance to go back. Our video department does an unbelievable job of putting these cut-ups together, and you can watch every team period for every player and watch every target for every player. And the guy just kept making plays. And so we got to go with what our eyes see, and he deserves it.
All 5 draft picks make the team. We've talked a lot about Dallas Goedert this year, a lot about Jordan Mailata this year. Prior, what did Matt show you from the time he got here to the end of preseason?
Yeah, I think, one, he's a mountain of a man. I mean, he's got the versatility play inside or out. We've had success with getting TCU guys and getting them in Coach Stoutland's room and developing. He's got good feet. He's got good power. Again, we talked about his versatility, and so it's hard to find offensive linemen, and we're excited about both of our late-round picks, offensive linemen.
Last year, I think 8 offensive linemen, 10 this year, so you really got a lot of depth to work with in a league that doesn't have, as you say, many offensive linemen.
There's no doubt that's part of our thinking here. It's hard to find. It's not, you know, we don't want to downgrade any other position, but it's hard to get into November and December and say, hey, I need a guard, I need a tackle. You know, where can I find a guy like that? Whereas some other positions, maybe you have an opportunity to do it. So protecting the quarterbacks. Always our number one priority, and so sometimes you got to show it with action.
So Richard Rodgers hurt at tight end for week to week, says Coach Doug Peterson. Joshua Perkins, Howie, what kind of player is he? What do fans need to know about him?
He was a guy that our scouting staff had targeted as a future signing. He's got versatility, former wide receiver. He can play special teams. He can run routes. He can separate. He gives good effort as a blocker. And so it's another position that's hard to find in the league. Tight ends are hard to find in the league, and obviously you talked about Richard being week to week, and so we just want to make sure that we're covered there, not only from an offensive perspective, but also on special teams. You know, having enough of those body types for Coach Phipp to be able to do what he wants.
All right, safety, you kept Trey Sullivan, and then we find out that you traded for DeAndre Hall. First Sullivan, and then if you could tell us a little bit about Hall.
Yeah, Trey's made his mark on the preseason on special teams, and he was with us on the practice squad last year, and he's continued to grow. At the same time, he's got to continue to grow as he's here, and we talk about those back end spots. We're constantly evaluating everyone. And DeAndre, he had an incident. We feel good about our research and our background information on him. Again, there are things that you have to make sure that you symbolize when you're a Philadelphia Eagle, and we'll make sure that works. But he's a guy who has corner background at safety. Chicago was deep at that position. They've spent 5 draft picks in the middle rounds on that position, and obviously they traded some draft picks away today. So we'll bring him in here. Joe Douglas again was with them in 2016 when they drafted him. He was a guy that we spent a lot of time on in the draft, and we'll evaluate him as he comes in next week.
Last guy who may be a little bit of an unknown for fans, Leroy Reynolds, linebacker. Again, wasn't an early signing in free agency, but has done enough to make this roster. Where does he fit in?
Yeah, Leroy Reynolds, for our fans, the playing temperament he has, think about a Nigel Bradham type on special teams. He is relentless. He throws his body around. He's a physical player. We really think that he's going to bring an edge to our special teams, and he's also played on defense. He can back up all 3 spots, and so we're excited about what he adds to our team and one of the pleasant surprises here in the summer. So
6 rookies, 6 draft picks from last year still in the roster. Good mix of young and experienced. You feel good about things. Feel great about things.
Dave, I'm excited to go play, but our job is to always feel like there's more.
We know. We know that one thing you can take to the bank, Howie Roseman, is not done. We thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Good luck on Thursday if we don't speak before then. And thanks so much for joining us here on Philadelphia.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Are you excited for Thursday night? Because I'm not really feeling the excitement.
I am going. When I get there, I will be excited. Right. Of course, this is always an interesting day. Like this is the first time the team is together, so that excitement just joins in.
Well, it's confusing because it's Saturday.
It's Tuesday night.
It's Tuesday.
Yeah.
And our days are all messed up.
Yeah.
And they're going to be messed up. Let's have a great Eagles.
Yeah, man. Hey, why do guys who get traded, like if there's a guy on a roster today on the Eagles or the Falcons, is today a Tuesday by NFL standards? In other words, Tuesday is the day you get a paycheck.
Tuesday's Tuesday.
Tuesday's Tuesday in the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the Eagles, Saturday's Tuesday. For the NFL, Tuesday's Tuesday.
All these days. All we know is that Thursday it all begins at Lincoln Financial Field. Howie Roseman, thanks so much for joining us. Have a great Eagles night, everyone.